Welcome to another video of Mika Repairs, this time the second part of the EcoFlow PowerStream repair. So in this video I'm trying to cast it into the housing again, and I will also try to show you some thermal videos about it on a load. I was testing the PCB outside the box and seeing where are the stress points and where it's getting hot. And I was thinking about optimizing it, found out probably I cannot optimize it in an easy way for everybody accessible without taking apart the whole PowerStream, so I will not do. Some people asked the question about the voltage rating of the EcoFlow and if it can go near the 60 volts. So what I found here are I think the most crucial part is the condensators on the solar inputs, and these are 63 volt condensators. So I think in this regard we are fine, but there's also everybody is putting a margin on it for safety. And as you might remember, if you're not seen, please go to my video number 1. The internal voltages before the conversion to the AC, they were running on 60 volts. So I'm assuming that nearer we are coming to 60 volts, we might get internal voltage regulation problems with the step-up converter. So please keep this in mind. So there's always a reason for ratings. And another question I got was about the microcontroller of the whole system and which number it has and what it is, and if it's an ESP32. So I have the microcontroller right here. I will focus for you. To the other screen we have an F280093 CSPZ microcontroller. So if anybody is going to tinker with the software on these, let me know. In the next part of the video, I think it's interesting for a lot of people. I was putting 500 watts to one of the solar inputs. This is maxing out the solar input because the maximum input power per solar input is 500 watts. And then I was seeing which parts of the PCB are getting the most hot. As you can see on the top side, you see the diodes are getting very hot, and they're also having little heat things on top of them. As you can see on the picture in the lower corner, I was doing the red rectangular around it for you to see better. And on the bottom side, I was doing the same. The test was going around 10 minutes as soon as I was seeing the temperatures maxing out. Sadly, I don't have the temperature graph on the side of the video, so I put you a picture in the end of the highest temperature. It was around 51 degrees at the diodes. So on this side, you can see in the blue rectangular, it's the DC side, the 60 volt side, as I was mentioning earlier. So the input power of the solar panels of the battery is stepped up to 60 volts. And this part is getting pretty hot. Problem with this part is we cannot cool it down from the other side when we're opening the PowerStream. So it's not an easy upgrade to upgrade your cooling capacity of the PowerStream. So that's the reason I was saying there's no way to upgrade it on an easy way, because you have to take out the PCB, and this was really a hard job with all the glue inside of it. Then next we have the diodes. The diode part, from what I think, is preventing voltage flowing back from the AC part to the DC part. So everything which is coming from the solar panel, from the battery, is passing through these diodes, and these are getting pretty hot. That's why they have the heatsink on the other side of the PCB, as I showed you a little earlier. And then the last part, which is getting in the beginning hot, but later not. So it's like not getting so hot than the other stuff. And the temperature gradients in the thermal camera are shifting depending on the highest temperature you have. So this part is getting hot in the beginning as the different stuff, but it seems to be efficient enough so that it's not getting hotter with time. So this part we can neglect. Okay, let's come to the final steps of the repair. Well, one problem I had, and for all the persons who watched my first part, I was saying, be very careful with the antenna cable, it could break. Well, I broke it. As always, telling the people to be careful, and then I'm not being careful on my own. So what did I do? I was buying a new pair of antennas, actually. Like this antenna was came with it, and I was buying these adapter cable. And these antennas coming from the antennas which are normally inside of laptops. So the connector, I will put a link down in the video description. And also I will put the type of connector in there. It's not a UPC connector. I think it's something a little smaller. It's like the in-between. So I was plugging in the new connector, put some coating above it so the cable is nice and secure and the connector will not lift from the board. And what you always should do, test it in the app if it has Wi-Fi. It has. So now, in order to mount this, I have to find a way where I will put this connector. I was thinking about maybe drilling a hole through this part and put the connector in here. Or I will go inside after I installed the board and install it somewhere in the top cover. I have to figure that out. And we have to seal up the whole unit again with silicone. The problem with silicone is it has a very bad heat transition, and it's not very well in dissipating the heat away from the board. So it's like a little, it's almost isolating. So what I'm going to do, I will use this silicone and I will mix it with aluminium oxide. Aluminium oxide is a thermal conductor, so it's not conducting electricity. So it's isolating, so we should be fine on the board with shorts. And we could increase the thermal conductivity from, I think it's 0.2 watts per Kelvin, and we can go up to 3, so we can increase it quite a lot. And yeah, kind of like the factor 10. And this is very good, so that's why we're trying it. And even if we're not getting that high, it's still gonna be a big improvement. And as you may already can see, I was testing it a little bit down here, so fill out the void, and it's looking good so far. You can peer it very well inside, and now we have to fill up the rest. So I will figure out where to put the antenna. Okay, for all of you who are wondering how the Wi-Fi antenna on the inside is looking like, I will show you. So you can take out this part, already modified it, and this is the actual Wi-Fi antenna. I don't know if you can take into account the part number, but the antenna is not looking very big, so this also might be the reason why we don't have so good signal with it. And what I did, I pried it out with the flat screwdriver, and then I took off the spec plastic part, which is inside here, and then I drilled a hole in here and insert the new connector. So now we can screw on our Wi-Fi antenna later. In order to make it waterproof again, what we have to do, we have to pour resin in here. Let's pour the resin inside. I was taking out the white part. It was just for testing, for me to see like if we have like an even distribution of the aluminium oxide. Seems like that. So let's do it for real now. I'll take out the board. In this part, I'm mixing the part A of the silicone with the part B in a ratio of 50-50. And now I will come in with some aluminium oxide. The more you get in there, the better thermal conductivity you have, but you have to keep in mind that the material is still able to flow. So I will start slowly. And from what I was seeing, I was in the beginning thinking I might have to vacuum it because you have a lot of air bubbles inside here, as you can see. But it seems like they're not affecting the quality of the pure lead. Otherwise, you have to put in the vacuum chamber and pull a vacuum, and then you will pull out the air. It will be the downer layer. I will not pure so much in. I will put a little more. Okay, now we have this finished. So I will pure it inside until I'm at the height of the screws here. Then we'll put in the board, screw it down, and then we will put more. Okay, so now we will put in the board. Just drop it down in here like that. And now I will come in with all the screws. So now that we have all the screws inside, we have to tighten them up. So now that we have this inside, we can put in the Wi-Fi antenna. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of resin inside here. I have to route the cable. Okay, this is the seal being inside, and also you have to put in all these caps here. They are in here, don't forget it, because if you screw on the top cover, you will not be able to do it again. And with that being said, we have the top cover prepared, and later we will pure in here the rest of the resin. But first of all, I will fill it till all the corners are completely filled up. Okay, with that being done, it's time to put on our top cover. Okay, now it's just raising. So I would say we are full. We'll clean this mess up, and then we can glue down the seals. Okay, let's do a little functional check. I will put in the AC. At the moment we are at 10 amps, so it seems like we're working. Well, and that's it. Our PowerStream being fully repaired. After everything is cured, I will put away the excess material, put on the rubber standoffs, and well, this way you're upgrading your PowerStream to a bigger Wi-Fi antenna. Thanks for watching, and if you like this kind of video, I will see you in the next time. Bye bye.